What's going on, guys? Mickle here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you evidence that Gary Gensler actually knew that Ripple was going to be sued by the SEC back in 2018. This is before Gary Gensler worked at the SEC and lets us know that this lawsuit was planned from the start and was all a ploy to bring clarity to the market. In this video I'm going to be showing you all of that evidence as well as getting into some technical analysis at the end of the video, so make sure you guys stick around for that. If you're new, make sure you like and subscribe, and let's jump right into it. Alrighty guys, I wanted to start out with this tweet from Anders L, and he tweets out, "It's right in front of your eyes," and then attaches this picture of Brad Garlinghouse meeting with the Central Bank of Switzerland, Singapore, Paris, the BIS, IMF, and SWIFT. And for those of you who don't know, these are three of the biggest traditional institutions dealing in our financial system. They move trillions of dollars every day. And right here we have Brad Garlinghouse on stage talking with members of all of these insanely large institutions. What this tells us is that sometimes I feel like people lose track of the fundamentals when there's FUD going around, like we currently have with this SEC case against Ripple. But you need to understand that at the end of the day, Ripple is going to be one of the most powerful crypto institutions in the entire world, and they are going to be fostering the adoption of the digital asset XRP. Ripple and XRP are going to be fundamental in helping these legacy players and infrastructure players in our financial system, like SWIFT, like the BIS, like the IMF. Ripple is going to be critical in helping them upgrade their systems, upgrade their infrastructure to a system that is built directly into the internet. They are going to help these legacy systems come into the new age of finance that is going to be crypto enabled and built on the blockchain. And there is no doubt in my mind that Ripple is going to be a critical part of this. This is why we see these pictures of Brad Garlinghouse meeting with all these institutions. And I just think we need to understand that whatever happens or whatever is going down with the SEC right now, it's clearly all a show, because the fundamentals of what Ripple has accomplished and what they are accomplishing right now tell us that they are going to be around for a long time. And that brings me into the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is why this lawsuit was brought to start and what was known about it for so long and what that could tell us about why it was brought in the first place. One thing that is super interesting about this lawsuit is actually how poorly it was drafted by the SEC. This has kind of forced me to come to the conclusion that this lawsuit was really one of two things. It was either complete incompetence by the SEC, very ill-advised, and just horribly executed, but it was really all an attempt to stifle innovation at Ripple, or the other one was that this lawsuit was intentionally drafted so poorly, so badly, didn't make any sense, that despite how hard the SEC fought to win, it was impossible to win from the start. So you might be thinking, then what was the purpose of suing Ripple? It was to create clarity in the market. Currently, we have no definitions, according to the SEC, of what is a security and what is not. What needed to happen was they needed to put a company through a court case like this so that the courts could decide what was a security and what is a currency. And right now I'm going to get into exactly why I think or why I believe that could be the case. Right here we have John Deaton quoting an article, and it reads, "We know from Ripple's court proceedings that despite 3 years of meetings with the company executives, the SEC never informed Ripple or its partners that the commission believed the company's digital currency, XRP, was a security until they initiated an enforcement action. That alone is damning. I'm not a lawyer, but I know that baiting a company to engage over 3 years and then initiating a lawsuit with no prior warning is not a good way to craft policy around an emerging market, especially because unlike many other crypto tokens, XRP has actually had legitimate use case for cross-border payments and is a bona fide currency." This is massive, and John Deaton points out right here, the SEC isn't limiting its allegations to include only sales of XRP by Ripple. It absurdly claims secondary sales of XRP by individuals or entities independent of Ripple are also unregistered securities. It's claiming the very nature of XRP in the market makes it a security, and this is where the SEC's arguments fall apart and stop making any sense, in my opinion. If the SEC only wanted to sue Ripple and get away with this lawsuit with a very easy argument, they should have, and very clearly, obviously, should have kept their argument to only sales of Ripple were constituted as securities. This is an absolute joke that they are trying to say that the XRP that I sell, the XRP that I transfer to my friends, could possibly be a security of Ripple. And it really makes you question that if the SEC has all these high-profile lawyers and were meeting with Ripple for the last 2 years, how could they have not realized this? It was either that they purposely brought it this way to make sure that at the end of the day, there would be clarity both between Ripple sales and the sales on the secondary market, and they brought it up in this lawsuit in a way where they could actually bring both issues in front of the judge, despite the fact that they knew they were clearly never going to prove that XRP sold on the secondary market was a security. So then what would be the purpose of this? The purpose of bringing it up would be that the lawsuit was never intended to be a jab at Ripple or do anything bad to Ripple. It was really just to bring up issues currently going on in the crypto market and put it before the legal system and have a court decide on the status of XRP in these different scenarios. I think this is extremely telling, and one of the reasons why the SEC chose to include all these weird scenarios, but it was all just a plan to help get these issues in front of a court. We can also see right here, we see that John Deaton tweets out, why did the SEC write paragraphs that read similarly to fraud allegations? It's a complete utter noise meant to inflame the reader. It's a classic divide and conquer strategy. In fact, the complaint was first filed. A lot of people claim the executives were sued for fraud. The truth is, there's not one allegation of fraud or misinterpretation contained in the complaint. I don't represent Ripple and I don't defend Ripple. My focus is on XRP holders and secondary market sales of XRP, the token itself. This is so telling because what the SEC did was they brought an allegation that didn't even make sense for how these court cases are typically brought. The fact of the matter is the SEC brought this case to present issues that were not being dealt with by Congress in front of the courts so that the courts could deal with it and make decisions on these issues that weren't getting dealt with anywhere else. Another reason why this could be very well the case is because we know back in September 2018, Gary Gensler was actually already aware that this lawsuit was going to happen and actually envisioned or told us that this was the likely scenario for all of this to play out. In this quote from Gary Gensler, he says, and let me just find, some say that XRP can be used for many years. They would say that XRP as a token can still be used even if Ripple as a company is gone. I'm not a lawyer. This will be decided by the American legal system, a proceeding that has already been filed in the matter. So the question is if back in 2018, if Gary Gensler was not even working for the SEC, then how did he know that this issue was going to be brought in front of the courts? Well, I think it is very likely that this has always been an issue, and most of these players who knew that cryptocurrency was going to be a significant part in upgrading these legacy financial systems into a new age were likely teed in on the fact that there had to be massive changes to what was going on in the current regulatory framework, and the easiest way to do that was to simply file a lawsuit. It is very clear that this lawsuit was drawn up in a way that was going to cover a multitude of different issues. As John Deaton tweeted out right here, that some of the issues brought by the SEC actually are hurting their own argument, and that just makes it all the more likely that this was all brought with the intention to clear up issues in the market through the courts, and this is something that's been known for a while, as Gary Gensler back in 2018 pointed out that despite the fact that XRP had many of the characteristics that would make it not a security, he pointed out that it was going to come down to the American legal system, and this is exactly what is happening. We are getting reassurance from the legal system through the courts that XRP is not a security, and now we just need to wait for this to all take place and for us to have our day and realize that XRP is going to be one of the most important cryptocurrencies in a new age financial system, and the signs have been right in front of our eyes the entire time. Guys, thank you so much for coming. Make sure you like and subscribe, and for now, Mickle out.